I was able to tell her about my amnesia in complete confidence. The day was nice and sunny, so we lay down in the garden under an old tupelo tree. We talked while sheltering under the sun in the shade of the tree. I brought some colored pencils and blank sheets of paper, and we both started drawing. Daisy felt tired immediately. She started picking daisies, but then put them in her braided while blonde braids while she gossiped about Lucia, a girl who lived for being the center of people's attention. While my friend was talking, I listened to her and kept on drawing without taking my eyes off the sheet of paper. "Who's that?" she asked me, suddenly noticing the drawing. It was as if I fell asleep in the exact moment I batted my eyelids in front of my sheet of paper, and I felt rather confused about seeing a drawing repeated several times on the same character. I don't know. I did not have the slightest idea of who he was. The clearest drawing showed a man wearing a black jacket with an extravagant and voluminous fur on his shoulder. He had a beautiful, happy smile, and two yellow eyes that was covered a bit by his fringe. He wore dark clothing, and in his hands he was holding a little blue case resembling a music box. Maybe I saw him in an illustration book. Oh, okay. "Let's have an ice cream," said Daisy, changing the subject of our conversation, seemingly not very interested. "Ants are coming under my skirt." On that same night, I had another nightmare, and this was worse than the previous one I had before. I dreamt about. I'm almost done. Dark figure again who brutally tortured me and kept saying the same phrase all over again. "She's mine." I woke up at 2 a.m. I woke up. I woke up at 2 a.m. breathing rapidly. I curled up, feeling the wall behind my back. I put my hands over my face and I breathed in deeply. "It was a dream. I just dreamed," I whispered. Then I looked over at the bunny next to me, which was looking back at me with his black eyes and with an irritated glance. I threw it on the floor. Since the moment I started sleeping with that thing, the dreams turned into meaningless nightmares. I turned around to rest my legs, and in that moment, I touched something with my foot. I realized my gaze, and I noticed a doll sitting at my bed. At first, I was frozen in place. All I could do was stare at her. I didn't understand how she appeared there. My mind started thinking back to my parents who gave me a present. Perhaps I didn't have a real thing for dolls, and to tell the truth, her presence in my room bothered me. It was a particular doll made of wax with unusual characteristics. She had a headdress of flowers flowing through her hair, and only a few locks caressed her cheeks. She wore an embroidered white lace dress with a black ribbon tied to her waist. Her arms were unordinarily long. She had long tapering fingers that they were not even normal. What caught the most of my attention was a rose put at the center of her mouth, as if it was supposed to silence her. I looked at her closer and scanned her under the moonlight. I touched her face and realized there was something wrong. I kneeled down and tried to get an even closer look at her. I then saw something, a sort of subdued sound, like a wheeze. It was coming from the same doll. Screaming, I left her falling down on the floor and stood up in horror, trembling violently, pushing myself back to the wall, screaming for my parents. Suddenly, everything turned surreal. The wall next to the door enlarged, like there was a bubble between the paint and the concrete. Slowly, some cracks appeared as they increased in numbers. The paint fell into pieces and landed on the floor as it revealed a blue door. I hadn't the slightest idea of what was happening. These things exist only in books or in other imaginations, but in my astonishment, I felt something was going to come out of that door. From the door, I see the same black hands that I witnessed in my nightmares. Aren't you happy about Daisy coming to visit you? Are you? Said the monster, standing on the threshold of the door. I didn't like her either, you know. She screamed a lot. Daisy. What she had to do with it. I looked around, confused, looking for the presence of my friend that obviously was not there anymore. At the end, my eyes watched over the doll. That blonde hair and face made of wax looked strangely familiar. I held my breath. A nightmare. It must have been another nightmare. I rushed over to the doll and I turned my face in my trembling hands. I put my ear over her chest and heard another sound, along with that horrible wheeze, the pounding of a heart. Daisy, Daisy, I cried desperately. It had to be a nightmare. Something like this could not have been happening. I realized